Cool like that. Testing, testing, 1, 2. How many people watching know how to fish Jupiter? How many of y'all know what that means? Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, yeah.
Salzer, my man. Hey. Hey, special. Hey, Cody. Good to see you too. Thank you. Nice. You want my middle name too? Alex. Mojica. Junior, third year. Where'd you get that? Political science. Yes. I'm a computer student from Cool Springs. 954 732 4943. You mean SAU? A Mojica, Amojica, 2021. Yeah, so are there going to be like interviews afterwards? Or like cool. You might want to flip the page so you have one for Sheryl.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sending it to you right now. Good luck, Alex. Good luck, ma'am. Of course. Yep. How's it going, guys? Good. Pretty good.
No, no, no. I mean like during the debate, there's no notes.
The battle.
Or is it pre-written?
Yeah, no, you can have
Whether
notes.
you can read off the paper.
Yeah.
You're allowed to have notes.
Okay. Welcome. The program is about to begin here, so good evening. Thank you for coming to tonight's Student Government Boca Raton Ruby National Debate. The debate is a valuable opportunity for the Boca Raton campus community to hear directly from the candidates and learn about the visions and goals if elected into office. Amid the busy pace of the fall semester, it's important that we take a moment to listen to these candidates, hear about their platforms, and understand how they plan to enhance the student experience on our campus. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Nick Stone. I serve as the supervisor of elections here at Florida Atlantic University on the Boca Raton campus. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm a senior. That's kind of all I got for you. So I want to take a moment here to recognize our candidates and all the individuals that are here tonight. Thank you guys all for coming. So to introduce our candidates here. So candidate 1 is Sheryl Dezeme.
You got it.
Dezeme. Candidate 2 is Alex Mojica, and candidate 3 is Lance Moore. So a little bit about Sheryl. Do I speak to her? Okay. Sure. So candidate 1, Sheryl Dezeme, is a junior here at the College of Arts and Letters majoring in political science. Sheryl stated in her candidacy form that she is running for campus governor because she believes in the power of student voices and wants to create positive change on campus. Her goal is to represent our diverse student body and ensure everyone's ideas and concerns are heard. So please give a round of applause for Candidate 2 over here is Alex Mojica. Alex is a junior in the College of Arts and Letters majoring in political science. Alex stated in his candidacy form that he is running for campus governor to expand the Night Owls program into a day/night program to help students get to their classes, cars, and housing. Pep Talk will work more closely with the CAP Center to give students workshops on improving mental health, balancing school and self-care. And then finally, the GAC will improve student engagement with student government through surveys, feedback forms, and department communication. Please give a round of applause for Alex. And candidate 3 here, Lance Moore, is a sophomore in the Charles E. Schmidt College of Science, majoring in biological sciences. Lance stated in his candidacy form that he is running for campus governor to improve your experience at Florida Atlantic University. By supporting our students' athletics, creating bigger and more inclusive events, and advocating for the needs of the Boca Raton campus to university administration, we will benefit the everyday lives of our students. Please give a round of applause for Lance Moore. Tonight's debate will consist of a 2-minute introduction from each candidate, followed by 3 predetermined questions with 2-minute responses for each candidate. Then we will take 2 questions from the audience with 2-minute responses from each candidate, and we'll end with 2 minutes for each candidate to give a closing argument. We will now move into introductions. Candidates will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, beginning with Sheryl Dezeme.
Thank you so much, Nick, and thank you everyone for being here and taking the time out of your busy schedules. Thank you so much for that introduction, it was perfect. To reiterate what he said, my name is Sheryl, and I'm running for campus governor because FAU, our tagline is that we have a diverse student body, and I want to represent that and speak for students and let them know that their voices are being heard and so are their concerns.
Thank you, Sheryl. Alex Mojica.
Thank you so much. Fellow students, my name is Alex Mojica. I'm running to become your next Boca governor. My campaign is based on 3 words: vision, action, progress. You will learn that I am a man with a plan due to my history and platform. In the past, I served in the Boca House of Representatives for 6 school semesters. During this time, I rose through the ranks of Rules and Policies Chair and Speaker Pro Tempore. As a result, I know how to lead a team and get things done. Now, my platform, as stated before, does include mental health events with Pep Talk and the Counseling and Psychological Services Center, and student feedback forms to improve our connection with the student body. Now, aside from that, I have also added to my campaign 3 new issues to cover. And these new issues are bike rack coverings, dining hall hour extensions, and golf cart transportation. Yes, I mentioned that. I will go over that. For bike rack coverings, to protect your bikes and scooters from rain and rust, I will provide bike rack coverings. To save you money on food, I will advocate for longer dining hall hours on the weekends. And to help you get to your class, car, and dorm, I will turn the Night Owls golf cart program into both a daytime and nighttime program. During questioning, I will go into more depth of how I plan to do this, because with vision must also come action and progress.
Thank you, Al. Mr. Moore?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for coming out. I'll reiterate what Nick Stone said. I'm Lance Moore. When I graduated high school, when I resonated for me, the one place I wanted to go was FAU. Living in Florida, I've lived in Florida all my life. I love the beach, I love the sun. The moment I stepped on campus, I wanted to be involved. I wanted to get my voice out there and get my fellow classmates' voices out there. The first way I've done that is through student government. I'm a student government representative, and I currently serve on the Ways and Means Committee. Through the Ways and Means Committee, I was able to develop a lot of skills through the day-to-day spending of the campus. I'm able to understand how ideas are brought up, and not only how they're just brought up, but how they're executed throughout. Also on the lines of leadership, I'm on the IFC. Last year, I was the IFC recruitment chair. I brought in the most guys we've ever had a part of IFC, and currently now I serve as the IFC president. Through IFC, I'm able to see a lot of different people from all different parts of the nation in each individual fraternity, get their ideas about campus, get their thoughts about what can happen, and they can influence me to bring change. Later down the road, as I'm on campus, I like to reiterate that I am a sophomore. These last 2 years, I've lived on campus. I lived on IRT, and I currently live on Parliament. I'm living the day-to-day life of a student. As governor, I'm going to be here living throughout the day, walking in the shoes of your average student to see what is wrong, to take in firsthand about these issues that different students face on campus, to bring change, to bring better for the community. So what I like to think that through my leadership, my communication skills, and the different experiences I'm able to have as a student leader, I should be voted as your student body Boca Raton governor. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. It's great to hear from each of you, and I can't wait to hear more of how you plan to impact our campus. We will now move into question and answer period. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to each question, starting with the candidate Mojica. Alex Mojica, what ideas do you have to improve the Boca campus?
What do you mean? Like, do I have to improve the Boca campus? I just told you. Bike rack coverings, better dining hall hours, and golf cart improvements, making it both a daytime and nighttime program. Now, let's start with the bike rack coverings. I know I have 2 minutes, so. I'm currently working with the House of Representatives to fund the bike rack coverings. Last week, I sent a detailed plan to Ways and Means Chair, Nicholas Special. He and his Ways and Means Committee are working on it as we speak. Last week, for dining hours, the House passed a resolution to extend weekend dining hours from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on weekends. To complete this project, we must communicate with the Student Government President, Board of Trustees, and Business Services. Now, for the golf cart program, which is the most difficult initiative, we have 5 steps. Step 1, rebrand night owls as golf cart owls. Step 2, repair all golf carts by installing new lights. Step 3, purchase a new ADA golf cart for disabled students, using the funds from the House and Senate. Step 4, creating new hours for the golf cart service to work during the day, nighttime, and according to drivers' schedules. In step 5, we have my student forms, which record which students are using the golf carts so we can monitor our progress on a monthly basis. That's my platform right there, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Candidate Moore, the same question. What ideas do you have to improve the Boca campus?
My ideas I have to promote for the Boca campus, first in line, is benefits to the rec. I believe that as we go through the campus rec, your mental and physical health are extremely important. And going through the campus rec, we want to make sure I can strive for those initiatives to make sure that I can allocate money in this student government budget to make sure that each individual equipment is up to point, it's safe, and that each student is able to have the best possible experience working out they can. On the lines of the athletics, I think that the next goal that I would like to go for is the student athletic clubs. I believe that these clubs on campus that be student run are crucial for our student body, especially me coming from in high school. These sports athletes come out, this is your life and your identity that you've had through your whole life. And you come to college and you're hit with all these different real life responsibilities, whether that be through paying tuition, whether paying through a job, or studying for that regular class and that test. And it's really difficult for students to have that way of life still, but also still be a full-time college student. And with ways that I can be able to do that is through this budget, I can reallocate different types of funds for money regarding for sports clubs, equipment reallocation, for transportation, and just everyday way of life. Because at the end of the day, students shouldn't be able to, or shouldn't be forced to move away a certain part of thing that they love to adapt to FAU college life. Lastly, another thing I'm passionate about through IFC is Greek housing. I believe with this new year coming up, with this new year's master plan, with the new elect that we had of President Hasner, I'm able to work hand in hand with the university to increase and give the idea of Greek housing. I'm not saying this is something that's going to get done immediately, but down a plan and setting up ways, because at the end of the day, it's not about throwing the idea out there, but execution. And I'll make sure that these steps are put into place, whether that be through each Greek housing will have different floors in IVA, or just bringing up the idea through the university board. So these different things, I think, will be able to improve the overall Boca campus. Thank you.
Candidate Dezeme, the same question. What ideas do you have to improve the Boca campus?
So from talking and speaking with the student body, things that they have told me was that they see that our tagline is that we're diverse, but they don't feel like they're represented within the student government. So I would like to do a bigger outreach to get more students involved in student government, because that is important. As we represent them, they should feel like they are represented as well. We have the international students who need help with certain things, whether it's getting a job because they can only work here on campus. We have FAU High, which we don't really reach out to them and speak to them, and they should be involved in the process as well. We have our traveling as far as getting to certain places. Students who live on campus, they have no way of getting to certain grocery stores or getting to the mall or getting to like Trader Joe's or Publix. So for transportation, I would like to have a way to do that as well. And as well as extending caps and letting students know the things that we have on this campus, because a lot of students don't know all the programs that we offer to them, and I feel like they need to know.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Our campus is going to be in great hands after hearing from these candidates. For our next question, Candidate Moore, if elected, what ideas do you have to improve student lives at the Boca campus, other than the policies that you just talked about?
Thank you. Some ideas I have to benefit the student life. The first idea would be airport shuttles. I think that going into different breaks, we have different people from all around the nation that come to FAU. I know people from Illinois, New York, California, everywhere. And you shouldn't be penalized going back on the holidays for family time during Thanksgiving and winter break to be stuck with a $40 Uber. That just isn't right to me. And I believe that throughout reallocation through the budget, we're going to be able to allocate for different transportation vehicles to have for buses, for different students to have free shuttles to the airport. So you're not dealing with just packing up and trying to buy Ubers for the random person taking to the airport. Along the lines of money, I think a great thing that I could bring would be free printing. Me as myself as a learner, I'm a visual learner. I need to have paper and hands up in front of me to learn. And when I go to the library, when I go to the different dorms on our building, I don't have 6 cents or pennies in my pocket to pay for different sheets of paper. I just don't have that on me. And at the end of the day, it should be free for students. People shouldn't have to be paying to advance their education. We offer all these initiatives, and they should be able to have free printing along the lines with students. And going down with that in the everyday student life. At the end of the day, the government with the governor on Boca campus is in the main source of running all these different types of events. I believe as your student body governor, I'm going to bring able to have my cabinet to have more inclusive, more impactful, and larger scale events on a day-to-day basis to make sure that each student has something to do throughout the day and has a productive day each and every day on campus.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Same question for you, candidate Dezeme. If elected, what ideas do you have to improve the student lives at the Boca campus, specifically the Boca campus?
Specifically to the Boca campus, there are a lot of things that need to be done, and I don't want to sit here and list 1,000,010 things because every area needs help. With my administration, I definitely want to work with closely with all the orgs, so we all are on the same page and no one is just running off doing whatever they want or we're not in communication with each other. Also to work with the Webner Learning Center, that is another thing. And as well as I met a young lady that was in club sports and she asked me like, why don't we show up to sporting events? And I want us to show up there because if we're representing them, why aren't we showing up for them? As well as,
No, you're good.
okay. And as well as the students, we work for them, and I feel like we could also work harder for them.
Thank you. Candidate Mojica? Yep.
That's my name.
Okay, yeah. Candidate Mojica, if elected, what ideas do you have to improve the student lives at the Boca campus specifically?
Adding on what I said previously on my other issues, let's talk about mental health. When I was talking about mental health events in my campaign message, I was referring to self-care workshops for students. These workshop events will teach students how to practice self-care, including meditation, journaling, and stress management. The pep talk department we have in the Governor's Administrative Cabinet will host these events with the assistance of the CAP Center. We've been able to do this the previous semester when we had service animals and other things at the CAP Center, and I'd like to build on that this upcoming summer and fall semester. I have a strong tie with the CAP Counseling and Psychological Services Center. I was actually the key endorsement that pushed the CAP's expansion project across the finish line 1 year ago in April of 2024. I was even the keynote speaker at the Counseling and Psychological Services Center ribbon cutting ceremony. So I am in a very strong position to improve the mental health of students here on campus who are facing stress from school and other problems in their lives. Thank you.
For our last question, candidate Dezeme, what is the biggest challenge you think you would have to overcome if elected?
The biggest thing I think that I would have to overcome if elected would be collaboration. For all of us to work together and be on the same page. Because this is not about us. This is about the students that we represent.
Thank you. Candidate Mojica,
Yes?
what is the biggest challenge you think you would have to overcome if elected?
I believe it's similar to what Senator Dezeme has put forth. Collaboration, but also funding. In my 6 semesters in student government, I've learned to collaborate with different departments to fund initiatives as well as pass certain initiatives. When it comes to the golf cart initiative, I will work with both the Senate and the Ways and Means Committee in the House to fund the ADA golf cart, as well as other improvements necessary. When it comes to the bike route coverings, I'll work with both the Ways and Means Committee, as well as the Housing Services to collaborate on the best way to bring about bike route coverings for students, bikes, and scooters. I also know that the House is able to provide the Governor's Administrative Cabinet with money because a few weeks ago we passed a reallocation bill that took $9,000 from the Treasurer's account and gave it to the House. So, with my knowledge in these financial transactions and other expertise, I will be in a very good position to delegate tasks and collaborate with both the House, Senate, and Governor's Administrative Cabinet to fund our initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mojica. Candidate Moore, same question. What is the biggest challenge you think you would have to overcome if elected?
Well, I think the biggest challenge I'm going to have to overcome is just not being everywhere at the same time. I'm not going to be able to have my hand in every single different club on campus and every different position on campus. As student governor, I'm going to be on an outsourced umbrella type position on campus. And what I'm going to do to solve that is, honestly, when I bring in my government cabinet, I'm going to pull different people from all different types and all different cultures on campus to make sure and ensure that every single person on campus, their opinions are represented. Because at the end of the day, I'm a learner. I'm not going to know everything at day one. But when I bring people into my cabinet, I'm going to take bits and pieces from each individual cultural background they have to bring inclusivity and diversity as my main standing point on campus.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. We will now take 2 questions from the audience. Attendees who were asked to write down questions that were open to all candidates to answer. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Lisa Beebe from University Press. I'm a graduate student. I've been a graduate student probably way too long. How are you going to involve graduate students of all kinds of backgrounds, from single parents to those who need childcare in order to participate in social or educational opportunities that they would otherwise not be able to? Or do you have other ideas of involving them and addressing the challenges that they face that, for the most part, undergraduates usually don't have to face?
Candidate Moore, would you like to respond to
Yeah,
this?
I would love to. Yeah, so when it comes down to it, it comes down to the day-to-day spending. And like you said, that's in line with a lot of sports clubs, is a lot of people have outside opportunities and outside responsibilities just from school. And what I would like to do to really close that gap, to make sure it's inclusive for all, is just a reallocation of the budget, really moving around the money to where we can focus on not just the individual campus side, but the individual students. Because at the end of the day, as governor, I'm supposed to officiate and make sure that each individual student has the best possible time at FAU they can. Whether that be with outside sports going on, if you're a mother of 3, if you have child support, and if you have an outside full-time job. I'm going to ensure that each individual person attending FAU has the appropriate equipment and the instruments to process and to have the best college experience possible.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Candidate Mojica.
Okay, when it comes to student involvement in events, I will have student volunteers help set up the events and distribute brochures. In my campaign today, I have released my first batch of campaign brochures on the Breezeway, and using this canvassing skill that I have, I'll be able to recruit members to help distribute brochures for specific events to increase student turnout. And we will also have student volunteers, so it's not just student representatives and politicians setting up the events. That's how, man.
Thank you, Mr. Mojica. Dezeme, would you also like to respond?
So your question was how can we help graduate students and the problems that you guys face that regular undergrad students face?
Right, and get graduate students more involved and integrated with social and educational opportunities outside the classroom.
So to get you guys involved, what I said earlier, is that you guys should be involved in student government. Again, sometimes we don't get to speak to graduate students because a lot of them are commuter students, and like you said, they're parents, so they're in and out. So we don't necessarily know all the needs that you guys need. So if you guys, for us to meet together and speak and find out what you need, that would be extremely helpful. And as far as like the way that our budget is allocated, we don't know what you need. So if we know, we can allocate funds to help you guys in all aspects as you're learning here at FAU.
Thank you, Are there any more questions? I saw Ben's hand first, so Mr. Cohen.
Thank you. So obviously, at this point in our university, athletics is a really big thing. Our football team just got a new head coach. Our basketball team is doing a lot better. As campus governor, you're really in a unique opportunity. So my question is, how are you as campus governor going to help ensure that student government not only supports our athletics and alumni association, but that we can get more students to attend games?
Candidate Dezeme, would you like to respond to that?
Yes. To get more students to show up at games, I don't want to say we have to give them incentive, but for us to show up as student government, I feel like we should be showing up at all games. Even, I know we can't be at every single game, but for at least maybe 5 of us to show up to the games, even at the club sport games. We should be showing up and supporting the teams, not just at tailgates, getting drunk and then leaving and not staying for the game. We should be there through and through cheering on our teams because they are FAU and we represent FAU.
Would you like to respond?
I'd love to, yeah. So with these increase of games and different events that we have on campus, I think it's going to be crucial that our student body is there to support our student athletes. And one of these ways that we've done it are through these the influence of Greek life and IFC and these different events before the tailgate. These last two tailgates we've had for the basketball games have been the most attendance we've had at basketball games this whole season. It is a proven fact here and there. The numbers do not lie. And if we can continue that to bring incentives to have students come to these games, to have a little bit more fun and a little bit more cheer around their basketball games, these events before, they're going to go right into the games and have a good time. I was at the last basketball game last night, and I had a fantastic time. Just through the sheer effort the student government put out through these tailgates and through the inclusion of the student body with the advertisement and the different reallocation and the retribution that they've had throughout the student body to include all forms of life and community to tailgates and including coming to games.
Thank you, Kade.
Okay, when it comes to promoting our sports teams, I'll build on the student involvement approach I have previously set forth. In the Governor's Administrative Cabinet, we have an organization as well as tabling on the breezeway. That's how we'll expand our reach into the sports department. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Mojica. Yes, ma'am. Try and speak loud and clear, too, so we can just let you know. Yeah.
Great. Hi, I'm Cabria. I'm a senior at FAU. So I've been here for a while, and I love FAU. You guys love FAU. So with everything that's been happening recently, I wanted to talk about the fact that since I was a panelist for the representatives, now classes with the United faculty, with everything happening with the DI classes, I want to ask all of you, how do you guys continue to help with the fact that DI courses in higher education are being shifted and being taken away? For example, like class like psychology is being taken away from FAU. So how do you guys plan to advocate for the DI initiatives and reflect the student body justice, especially with the fact that we have our president who is a executive for private persons? That's not really reflective of our university.
Thank you. Candidate Mojica, would you like to respond first?
When it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, the House passed a resolution either last year or the year before stating that we support diversity, equity, and inclusion programs here at FAU. So one of the best things we can do is continue our resolutions, but also back to what we said about events. With Pep Talk, when it comes to psychology, we can promote some of the things that are taught in psychology in our Pep Talk events. If they're trying to get rid of African American history or other things, we can promote this form of education through our multicultural programming and even through our program board. This is how we're able to supplement for lost class material and lost learning at FAU. So, in short, overall, using program board, multicultural programming, and Pep Talk is our best route for saving this educational training and learning for our student body. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Mojica. Candidate Dezeme, would you like to respond?
So your question is, how would we keep diverse classes on FAU?
Diverse classes, diverse spaces, even though, and as we talked about with this, teaching and the multicultural programs, those are being taken away as well. So how are we going to be able to keep those initiatives that are being taken away?
I would honestly, just to double check, I would like to speak to our advisors about that, but as far as what I can do, it would be to speak up for you guys. To let our advisors and to let professors know that these are classes that students want. And as far as spaces, I agree, we do need to have more safe spaces for students, because we really never know where to go. Like, some people just go into the office upstairs or just hang out in UP, but I feel you are correct about that. We do need more safe spaces. But as far as the classes, I would totally like to get your email and to see what we can do, because that is important, because this is your education and you are paying for it. So you have the right to know and the right to have classes that you want. So that is actually, that's really great. So thank you so much for that question.
Candidate Moore, would you
Yeah,
like to respond?
of course.
as well?
And yeah, bringing more diverse and inclusive classes and spaces on campus is huge. I mean, at the end of the day, we are the most diverse public university in Florida. Like that's what our grounds are on. And I feel like if I am elected governor, the people that I can surround myself in this cabinet, I'm going to be able to bring in multiple different people from all different shapes of the world to where I can fill in that multicultural. I can fill in the programming. I can fill in savvy. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, like I'm not going to know everything. I really am not. And if I can just pick and get the ideas from each individual student who wants to be represented and wants their voice heard, if I can get that, then we can work hand in hand with Hasner. We can work with that president. No matter what his past is now, we can't change anything that he's the president now. And what we need to do now is talk to him and work with him at the end of the day. If I can work with him and pitch the ideas, have the ideas of my cabinet, have the ideas of the student body, have the ideas of bringing more diverse and inclusion to FAU, the more I can have that and have those ideas told to me and talked about, I can work hand in hand with this university to make it more a diverse and more inclusive university on campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Moore. We'll take one more question. Stefan, you could please stand up as well. Yes, thank you.
First, I'd just like to say it's clear that all three of you recognize the importance of getting involved. It's a studied fact that the more students involved, the better they perform academically. And so this is a two-part question. My first question is, what do your first 100 days look like in your administration? And my second question is a follow-up on how do you help facilitate a push towards higher student involvement?
Candidate Moore, would you like to respond?
Of course, yeah. So the first step being, what does your 100 days look like? My 100 days don't start in the first 100 days. They start over the summer. But before school even starts, I start beforehand. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to set guidelines for my government administrative cabinet, and I'm going to set goals and outlines for what's expected. Because at the end of the day, if you give people that you're working with the tools to succeed and the best possible outcomes of what they expect as each other, we're going to be able to work together and work day in and day out to make sure Boca Raton is the best possible campus we can have. Going into your next question, which is going to be like, off of the 100 days, how are we going to improve overall involvement? It comes down to the GAC, the governor's administrative cabinet. Like, we are the majority of events on campus. The more people I can bring into my cabinet, the more ideas that I can bring in, I'm going to be able to include more inclusive, more large scale, and more relatable events that each student will have something to do each day of the week. Each event, when they get home from their class, they're not going to be going back home to their dorm and sitting alone and sulking all night. They're going to have events to go out to. They're going to be socializing with all different cultures on campus. They're going to be able to hear all different types of opinions, all different thoughts about what they want and what other people want, so they can work in a safe, collaborative space to find the best possible university that they can stay at.
Thank you, Candidate Moore. Candidate Dezeme, would you like to respond?
So my first 100 days start as soon as I'm elected. I'm not going to wait to start working, because that's not going to solve anything. And also, I want to get a GAC that represents the student body. I don't want to just pick and choose friends. I want people that represent the students. And as what was the second one? To see
Facilitate a push towards higher involvement.
higher involvement. To get higher involvement, people need to know that SG exists, because as I've spoken to some students don't even know that we exist, and they don't know what we do for them. So if that is the case, we need to be out there more. As far as tabling every single week, we need to be in the hubs talking to students, because how are we going to represent students that we don't talk to? We need to get out there and ask them to come. As far as like FAU High, we don't really talk to them. They used to have a chair here in the house, but they don't. And why is that? They should. Every student should feel like their voices need to be heard and that we are listening to them. So that's why I want to go across the board and have everyone feel included. And then also, I would like to have like town hall meetings with a purpose. So everyone can get their ideas in, and so we can speak to them.
Thank you, Candidate Dezeme.
first 100 days, I'll collaborate with the House and the Senate for my initiatives of bike rack coverings, golf cart reform, and other key events. I'll establish my governor's administrative cabinet with our fall plans of pep talk events and other club events. When it comes to educational improvements, the House, as of last month, passed an in-person education resolution advocating for an in-person option to online-only classes. Now, of course, we can't make this happen overnight. We have to collaborate with professors and the Board of Trustees. I was one of the key endorsements of that in-person resolution, and I'd like to build on Senator Dezeme's town hall meetings by including professors and other faculty members to discuss how we can best facilitate the in-person option, as well as other educational options for students to improve their grades and success. Thank you.
Thank you, Kade. We will now move into closing arguments, starting with candidate Dezeme. Dezeme, please let them with your lasting impressions for the next 2 minutes.
So a lot of these questions were, what are my ideas? It shouldn't just be solely my ideas. We should be working in tandem with students to know what they want as well. This is not going to be easy. I'm not going to stand up here and make promises and saying that I'm going to do this, get more parking, and all this. I honestly want to work with students, because if I represent them, I need to speak for them and to speak to them to get to know what they want. And I think that is the most important thing. I don't want to be sitting up here fighting about money that's not even ours. Everything should go back to the students, and we need to know what they want. It can't just be up to us and our ideas. I don't think that's what a governor should be, and we should be working with all orgs to see what we can do to better student involvement. Thank you.
Candidate Mojica, 2 minutes, final impressions.
Okay, thank you. So, in conclusion, I will help the student body with housing, dining, and transportation, as stated in my plan. I'll also engage with student clubs as well as the Governor's Administrative Cabinet to preserve our DEI learning programs. When it comes to housing, on-campus students will be given bike rack coverings for their bikes and scooters. When it comes to dining, longer dining hall hours on the weekends will save students money on food. Daytime golf cart transportation will help students get to their classes, cars, and dorms. Overall, the joy that my administration will bring will be felt through vision, action, and progress.
Thank you, Candidate Mojica. Candidate Boyd, final 2 minutes.
At the end of the day, the position of governor is essential for these students to be reflected, for their opinions to be heard, and their opinions to be throughout FAU, for them to be heard and for them to be respected. And when I go through Boca, when we all these classmates, when we walk across that stage, when we grab that diploma, when we look back at these 4 years, we want them to be the best 4 years possible at the end of the day. And when all those students out there, and especially myself, going through these 4 years, we want the best possible way that students can be interactive and be present on campus. And that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. I want these students, when they go back to high school, when they were writing their college essays, when they were getting their GPAs, when they were trying to go to their dream school like I was at FAU, I want them to look back and these be the 4 best years that they could have had. I want them to look back and be, these are the best 4 years that prepared them for life after, and they had the best possible situation in campus. They were allowed to call Boca Raton their home. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Boyd. I want to thank everyone for attending tonight's Boca Raton Campus Scuba National Debate. Please do not forget to vote on February 25th and 26th on Alice Central. There will also be polling stations located on the breezeway on Tuesday and Wednesday of the elections. Drop by to vote. I'll be giving out bagels that day as well. And that's about it. Have a good night. Thank you.